Hi, hello, welcome to LearnStroke IAS classes by Arjun. You're listening to the daily Hindu news analysis for IAS current affairs news leads with Arjun R Shankar. And today the date is 18th December 2022. And do check out our editorial summaries for IAS where we'll decode important editorial articles from various newspaper from the UPSC perspective and syllabus. To the first important news leads of the day, GST Council keeps tax rate same but differs key reforms. So this brings us that the GST Council has clarified tax provision on items ranging from frames to sport utility vehicles to reduce disputes. You can take a look at this. Major 5% GST scrapped on husk pulse, dispels doubt on frames, 18% GST to stay, and tax on ethyl alcohol supplies to refineries for blending with petrol slashed to 5% from 18%, and higher rate of 22% of GST compensation says applies only for SU. So a lot of changes basically coming in the GST. Council has actually keeps the tax rate same. So this brings us GS paper 3 economy perspective, and you need to know it also approved decriminalization of some offenses but could not find the time to discuss half of its agenda, including the setting up of the most keenly awaited GST appellate tribunal. So that is something that we have to understand in this regard. And what is GST Council? So basically, we have discussed about GST Council. Sorry. So you need to understand what is the GST Council involved in this. So the GST Council or the Goods and Service Tax came into force by the Constitutional 122nd Amendment Bill, which was passed by both the houses in 2016. And the GST Council is a joint forum of the center and states, was set up by the President as per Article 279, Clause 1 of the Constitution. So the GST Council, so there is Article 279, Clause 1, and the members of the council include Union Finance Minister, who is the chairperson, and the Union Minister of State Finance from the center, and each state can nominate a minister in charge of finance or taxation or any other minister as a member. So the GST Council is basically, according to Article 279, is basically here to recommend to the union and the states on important issues related to GST, GST law, exemptions, etc. So please do know about the GST Council. What do you mean by the GST Council from GS paper 3 economy perspective? So you can just see it's a joint forum by 279.1, and it includes the finance minister, chairperson, union minister of state finance, and from the center. And foremost strikes Ulfa youth. This brings us to important question, GS paper 3 security. What do you mean by FOMO? So FOMO is nothing but, you need to know what is FOMO and what is ULFA. So FOMO is nothing but fear of missing out. FOMO means the fear of missing out. So FOMO is an emotional response to the belief that other people are living better, more satisfying lives than the important opportunities are being missed. So the FOMO often leads to a feeling of unease, dissatisfaction, depression, stress. So FOMO is fear of missing out. And obviously, ULFA, you obviously know it is the United Liberation Front of Assam. The United Liberation Front of Assam. It's a militant outfit operating in Assam. It was founded in 1979 by Paresh Barua. So the organization, had established ties with the National Socialist Council of Nagaland, Burma, and military operations again ULFA by the Indian Army began in 1990, and it continues to the present. So the government of India has banned the organization in 1990 under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, citing it as a terrorist organization, ULFA. So FOMO means the fear of missing out. So know it from GS paper 3 security and the security aspects of Assam. Next is pendency poses a hurdle to Supreme Court's role as protector of citizens' rights. So GS paper 2 polity and governance, you know that I'll give you a mains question. For GS paper 2, pendency of cases is justice delayed. Why is this happening in India? And how can the issue be resolved in an efficient manner? Suggest measures. So the pendency of cases in India is justice delayed. So you know that there are a lot of cases pending, and in the previous days, the Supreme Court has been discussing about the vacations, and a lot of people have been criticizing it because a number of cases are pending. And why is the cases pending in India, and how can the issue be solved? You know that there are more than, and the pending cases, you can see that the public litigation petitions claim a large space of the court, with more than 2000 plus cases. Public litigation cases are still pending, and around 4000 to 2000 special leave and writ petitions are also pending. And a total number of, you can see that a total number of around close to 400 plus cases, very prime cases regarding um, pending relating to the crimes against women, harassment, dowry, cruelty, sexual harassment, and domestic violence are pending. Very crucial cases are still pending. So why is this pendency happening? So one of the reasons that you can see is the vacancy of judges is not filled, frequent adjournments and lack of adequate arrangements to monitor, track, and bench cases for hearing are also factors which lead to pendency. And with the increase of population in the country and awareness of the public about their rights, filing of fresh cases is also increasing by a large number. Anyway, pendency is a serious issue. GS paper 2, polity and governance. Next is regarding constitution is a moral education document, the Chief Justice of India, DY Chandrachud, says. So again, I'm going to give you three important questions for the mains regarding this article. First one, what is constitutional morality? How is the law upholding justice according to the changing times? Give illustrations. So you need to know what do you mean by constitutional morality, and how is the law upholding justice according to the changing times. How is the law upholding justice changing according to the changing times? So you need to have an idea. Under the garb of morality, society tries to violate freedom of speech and expression. How can we prevent it? Give your views. So under the garb of morality, society tries to violate freedom of speech and expression. Question number 3. Democracy in India is only a top dressing on Indian soil, which is essentially undemocratic. It's an essay question. Democracy in India is only a top dressing on Indian soil, which is essentially undemocratic. So essay question regarding this. So three important questions have been given. That is very important, and you need to know. And the article basically talks about the constitutional morality, and it also said about the constitution was designed not for people as they were, but they ought to be. That's a very important statement. The constitution was not for the people as they were. It is for what they ought to be. Because the Supreme Court itself said that we have rectified the injustice for Section 377. Because Section 377, the rights of transgenders, everything, was an unnatural offense of the Indian Penal Code, was based on a morality of a previous era. So the previous, it was actually you can see the Section 377 was based on morality of a gone era. And also, you can say that referring to striking down the provision of adultery in the IPC. And the value of a progressive constitution serve as a guiding factor. So the constitutional morality angle is very, very important. And a 15-year-old girl who was victim of honor killing in Uttar Pradesh back in 1991. So they would be justified because their morals were like that. So that doesn't mean that the honor killing is good or right. So the morality which was actually true some years before do not exist in the present day society, or the present day mindset has completely changed. So constitution also needs to change according to the changing times. That is very important. So GS paper 2, polity and governance, very important article. Next is regarding the CBI, and you can see that the CBI, Delhi police and FBI bust a tech support scam. So you should know that it's not the Delhi police, CBI and the American FBI, they come together to solve a major scam which duped thousands of US and Canadian citizens over the past decade. So this is regarding GS paper 3, security. Government extends deadline for comments on new data bill. So this brings us to an important question, GS paper 2, law, and GS paper 3, tech. So you need to know what Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2022 is all about. What is Digital Personal Data Protection Bill? And what is India's Data Protection Board? As a part of the bill, it is now in the future coming days, The DPB, or India's Data Protection Board, is going to be very popular. And you should know that what is the digital personal data protection bill. There are seven important policies or the principles of 2022 bill. The first is the usage of personal data by the organization to be done in a lawful way. Personal data must not be used for the should be used for the purpose which for it was collected. And then the third is the data minimization principles, and fourth is the data accuracy, and the fifth is talking about how personal data is collected, and the sixth is no unauthorized collection or processing of personal data, and the seventh one is the person who decides the purpose and means of processing of personal data should be accountable for such processing. So these are the seven principles of the bill. So we should know more about the digital personal data bill. And what do you mean by India's Data Protection Board? Moving on to the next is beaten Galwan or Tawang or personal have always shown unmatched bravery. So the defense minister has actually appreciated the Indian Army's grit and nerve for facing the Chinese aggression in Ladakh. So no matter what happens, Indian Army is always ready for everything. So GS paper 3, security and defense. States can pitch in for security of border areas such as Shah at Eastern Zonal Meet. So this is very important in this regard, and this again brings us an important area. What do you mean by Eastern Zonal Meet, or what is an Eastern Zone? That is something very important that we have to know in this regard, because let's take a look at this. What is Eastern Zonal Council, and what are Zonal Council of India? And the Union Home Minister Amit Shah chaired the 25th Eastern Zonal Council meeting in Calcutta. So what you mean by the Eastern Zonal Council is something that we have to know in this regard. So the Zonal Council, the Eastern Zonal Council is actually a zonal council that comprises the states of Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, Sikkim and West Bengal. So please remember Eastern Zonal Council. This is important from GS paper 2 and 3 regarding law and regarding security, because Amit Shah has asked the border states to check the issue of cross-border smuggling and illegal infiltration along the India-Bangladesh border. So Eastern Zonal Council has Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, Sikkim, and West Bengal. So the zonal councils or advisory councils are made up of the states of India, and basically the zonal councils of India, they are actually been grouped into 5 zones to foster cooperating among them. So they were set up by the Part 3 of the State Reorganization Act 1956, and the northeastern states are not covered by any of the zonal council, and their special problems are addressed by another statutory body, the Northeastern Council at Shillong, created by the Northeastern Councils Act 1971. So there are 5 major zones, you can say: the northeast, the eastern, western, the southern, northern, central, and also the northeastern was not covered under that. So there was another statutory body created, Northeastern Council at Shillong. So the Union Home Minister is the common chairman of the 5 zonal council. Each chief minister acts as a vice chairman of the council by rotation, holding office for a period of 1 year. So you can see the Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha zonal council and advisory council, and the northeastern states are not covered by any of the zonal council. Northeastern Council at Shillong is also important. So that is regarding the important zonal council that you have to know. Please do remember about this from a GS paper 2 polity and law and also security perspective. Expedite FMD vaccine supply state Tamil Nadu Chief Minister to center. Because I'll give you a mains question here. The mains question here is, what is the foot and mouth disease? What is the foot and mouth disease? How is the vaccine essential in maintaining herd immunity among the cattle population? So what is foot and mouth disease? How is the vaccine essential in maintaining herd immunity among the cattle population? So you should know the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin wrote to Union Ministry of Fisheries Animal Husbandry regarding expedition of foot and mouth disease vaccine for the cattle. So Tamil Nadu has been requesting the center to supply around 90 lakh doses in a single installment since 2022 June. So it is very important, the vaccine is very important to maintain herd immunity among the cattle population and prevent the occurrence of foot and mouth disease and subsequent economic losses to the farmers of India. So you should know that the foot and mouth disease is also a small, in fact, mild contagious viral infection that can even come in the children, very common in young children, where you can see the symptoms like sore in the mouth, rash on the hands, and there is no specific treatment for hand and mouth disease, and frequent hand washing and avoiding close contact is actually something very helpful. But now we are talking about the foot and mouth disease in animals. You should know that the foot and mouth disease, the FMD in animal, is very severe. It's highly contagious and viral disease of livestock that has significant economic impact. So the disease affects cattle, swine, sheep, goat, and other cloven hoofed ruminants. So you can see the cloven hoofed ruminants are basically affected by the FMD. So you can see that it deeply affects the production of livestock, and it is estimated to circulate around 77% of the global livestock population in Africa, Middle East, and Asia, as well as in the limited area of South America. So it is actually caused by the apthovirus of the family of the Picornaviridae, the family of Picornaviridae, and there are seven straits like AOC, SAT1, SAT2, SAT3, and Asia 1. SAT1, SAT2, SAT3, Asia 1, AOC strains. There are seven major strains caused by the apthovirus of the family of the Picornaviridae. So know about this foot and mouth disease and how it is actually more than 70% global livestock is affected by this foot and mouth disease. Next is campaign to redress public grievance from December 19. GS paper 2 government agency and body. So you need to know that I'm giving a mains question. What is the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievance, or DARPG? The DARPG. What are some of the major activities? Discuss. So you need to know what is the Department of Administrative Reforms and Grievance, DARPG. So the DARPG has organized a nationwide campaign during the Good Governance Week in December 19 to 25. It's going to have a nationwide campaign, Good Governance Week, to focus on improving service delivery and redressal of public grievances across all districts. So the progress of the campaign is called it's Prashasan Gaon Ki Aur. Prashasan Gaon Ki Aur as 2022 will be reported by the district collectors on a dedicated campaign portal. Around 700 collectors will participate in the campaign Prashasan Gaon Ki Aur 22, and it was basically concerned about the improving service delivery and redressal of public grievance. So the department is basically the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievance is the nodal agency of the Government of India for administrative reforms as well as redressal of public grievance relating to the states in general and pertaining to the central government. So the department is basically trying to document and disseminate successful good governance practices by audiovisual media and publication. So successful good governance practice is also used in this, and it undertakes activities in the field of international exchange and cooperation. So please, this is very important from GS paper 2, and even from public administration paper, public administration paper 2, the good governance area. These are very important topics, so please do read it in the perspective of good governance and public grievance, etc. Next is resent against governor's rule in Mizoram's tribal council. So that brings us important questions. GS paper T, polity, etc. You can just check GS paper 2 polity. What is governor's rule? This article is talking about what is governor's rule, what is Chakma Autonomous District Council, or CADC, what is the sixth schedule of the Indian Constitution. So you should know that the organization of the Chakma community has resented the imposition of governor's rule in a tribal council in Mizoram. So in a tribal council in Mizoram, because you know the sixth schedule is actually working, and has resented, the Chakma community has resented against the governor rule. So it was actually imposed in the administration of Chakma Autonomous District Council, or CADC. So the CADC is a constitutional body having its own house. So the Chakma Autonomous District Council is one of the three autonomous district council in Mizoram. So Mizoram has three autonomous district council, and Chakma is one of them. So prior to 1972, it was actually under the P. Lakhar Regional Council. So it was created on 29th April 1972 under the sixth schedule of the Constitution to actually trifurcating the P. Lakhar Regional Council into Mara Autonomous District Council or MADC, the Lai Autonomous District Council or LADC, and Chakma Autonomous District Council or LADC or CADC. So you should know the P. Lakhar Regional Council was trifurcated into three parts: the Mara Autonomous District Council, MADC, Lai Autonomous District Council, and Chakma Autonomous District Council, CADC. So you should know that this now that it's trifurcated. And what is sixth schedule of the Constitution? Because the sixth schedule contains provision relating to the administration of tribal areas in the states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, and Mizoram. And the most important provision of the sixth schedule is that the tribal areas can be administered as autonomous districts and autonomous region. That is why we have the autonomous district council involved in this. So this brings us to another important area, which is called as the governor's rule. What do you mean by the governor's rule? In the event of a failure of a constitutional machinery in any other state of India, the president's rule is imposed under Article 356 of the Constitution. So Article 356 of the Constitution of India lays down the provision in case of a failure of constitutional machinery in state. As per Article 356, if the president receives a report from the governor of a state or otherwise satisfied that a situation has arisen in which the government of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provision of the Constitution, then the president may by proclamation impose president's rule. So you should know what you mean by the governor's rule and the president's rule from Indian polity perspective. So know what is happening. So now you know what you mean by the Chakma Autonomous District Council. So moving on to the next important one is government says breast cancer not a matter of national or extreme urgency. So the article from GS paper 2 health perspective, the breast cancer by the government estimate is the leading cause of cancer in women in India. However, it does not qualify as a matter of national or extreme urgency in the health ministry. So it talks about a case study of a person who was actually having a breast cancer called luminal A. There's a breast cancer called luminal A, which is among the most invasive and make up of the bulk of invasive breast cancer. And one of the drugs prescribed was ribociclib. So sorry for mispronouncing if it is actually ribociclib or ribociclib, which is too expensive. This ribociclib, very important for this luminal A breast cancer. The ribociclib was too expensive and unavailable at an affordable price. So it was patented, and therefore India's generic drug makers who routinely manufacture cheaper versions were legally prohibited from making version of the drug. So since the ribociclib was too expensive and it is a patented drug, the generic drug manufacturers in India cannot make this since there is a legal prohibition. So it is actually marketed by the famous pharmaceutical firm Novartis, and 100 out of 1 lakh women were being diagnosed with breast cancer. And according to the World Health Organization, there were 23 lakh women diagnosed with breast cancer and around 6,85,000 deaths globally. So at the end of 2020, there were 78 lakh women alive who were diagnosed with breast cancer in the past 5 years, making it the world's most prevalent cancer. So the case study regarding a person was actually vouching in the quote that unaffordable price of the medicine is a right to health, which is a fundamental right under Article 21. So unaffordable price is also a violation of Article 21, because right to life, right to health is a right. And that is the reason why Indian patent laws permit any drug, patented or non-patented, to be manufactured and made available at an affordable price if there is a compulsory license. So Indian patent laws can permit a drug, patented or non-patented, to be manufactured at an affordable price if it has got a compulsory license, if the government is satisfied that a large section of people need the drug, are unable to access it, or there is a national emergency or a health crisis. So then compulsory license government can issue. And the case say that the ribociclib, which is too expensive, is actually cannot be made because it has a patent. So if the government can actually come up with a compulsory license, definitely a large section of people definitely need this, because a lot of people are suffering from the luminal A, the breast cancer. So definitely, the Kerala High Court has directed the Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, the DPIIT, a Commerce Ministry body, and one of the respondents in the case, to consider compulsory licensing of ribociclib, so that a lot of people get the benefit of this. So know about the drug, the ribociclib, and what do you mean by the breast cancer, what is luminal A, and what is compulsory licensing. Please do know about all this thing. GS paper 2 health. So that is it. And one of the drug was too expensive, and please do know about this in detail. And that is why I'm talking about it. You need to have a compulsory license if the government is satisfied that large section of people need the drug. So definitely we need to have a compulsory license regarding the drug, the ribociclib. Moving on, the Rajasthan sanctuary gets protection under EZ shrinking. So the eco-sensitive zone shrinking, GS paper 3 environment. You can take a look at this. What is an eco-sensitive zone, or ESZ? And the famous Talchapar Blackbuck Sanctuary in Churu district of Rajasthan has received protective cover against a proposed move of the state government to reduce the size of its eco-sensitive zone, because there is a lot of mining happening, lot of pressure from mine owners, stone crushing industry. Everybody is actually pressuring the government, pressuring to reduce the size of the eco-sensitive zone, because the zone is actually having a more than 4,000 black bucks, over 40 species of raptors, birds, 300 species of resident and migratory birds. So the Rajasthan government wants to, it's doing against the shrinking of the sanctuary, the famous Talchabar blackbuck sanctuary in Rajasthan. And what do you mean by eco-sensitive zone? Because the National Wildlife Action Plan of the Ministry of Environment had actually stipulated that state government should declare land falling within 10 kilometer of the boundaries of national parks and wildlife sanctuary as eco-fragile zone or eco-sensitive zone under the Environmental Protection Act 1986. So this is to regulate certain activities around the national park 10 kilometers and wildlife sanctuary, as to minimize the negative impact of such activity on the fragile ecosystem. So in this case, you can see within this there is mining and stone crushing industry pressurizing the eco-sensitive zones. So know about what you mean by eco-sensitive zones. And the next is world geography, world international relations. Tunisian people vote in elections shunned by opposition parties. So this brings us, where is Tunisia located? Take a look at this. You can see that on the side, Mediterranean Sea, it's very near to the Mediterranean Sea, Tunis. So Tunisia is near, you can see Algeria, Libya, Egypt, and Morocco. And if you cross the Mediterranean Sea, you can see on the left hand side there is Atlantic Ocean. And very easily, if you can just move forward, you can see, you can, through the Mediterranean Sea, you can easily get through Greece. And if you move towards the right hand side, you can actually move to the Turkey. Even to the left hand side, you have Spain, France, and extreme left you have Atlantic Ocean, and sidewise you have Libya, Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, surrounded by Mediterranean Sea. It's very near. So you can take a look at how the Mediterranean Sea is actually connected. So to know Tunisia, where is it located? Next is European Union and Azerbaijan reached deal for electricity cable under Black Sea. That is a cool idea, to actually have an electricity cable under the Black Sea. So the question comes again, world GS paper 1, world geography, where is Azerbaijan located? You can take a close look, where is Azerbaijan located? And you can clearly see in the second picture that on the right hand side, left hand side, right hand side of the picture, and right to Turkey, you can see Azerbaijan is located. So you can see how European Union and Azerbaijan has signed a deal for electricity distribution under the Black Sea. So Azerbaijan has agreed to supply the European Union with electricity via subsea cable. So definitely they are actually under the subsea cable, inking a deal, as the there is a problem with the supply from Russia. So construction under the Black Sea is due to start next year, which is going to link Azerbaijan to Hungary. So you can take a look at the picture. Where is Hungary? You can take a close look. You can see it is actually linking Azerbaijan to Hungary, and then it is actually via Georgia and Romania. So via Georgia and Romania, it is actually trying to link Hungary. So You can see Azerbaijan is here, and also Black Sea is very close, and you can also see there is Caspian Sea on the right hand side in this picture, you can see, and there is Black Sea. So you should know how it is actually, if at all there is a subsea cable coming, how can actually Azerbaijan from the right hand side, how can it go to the Europe? Know the map perspective from world geography perspective. That's important. And next is Olaf Scholz inaugurates the first liquefied gas terminal in Germany. So I'm giving you a mains question here. What is liquefied natural gas or LNG? Why is it emerging as a cost competitive and cleaner fuel? Examine. So, what is liquefied natural gas? Because it is actually the Germany's first liquefied natural gas terminal has come up. So, LNG basically is a clear, colorless, and non toxic liquid which forms when natural gas is cooled to minus 162 degrees Celsius or minus 260 Fahrenheit. So it's a clear, colorless, non-toxic liquid which forms when natural gas is cooled to minus 162 degrees Celsius. So the cooling process shrinks the volume of the gas 600 times, making it easier and safer to store and ship. So the cooling process is making the volume shrink. So it's easy to 600 times shrinking. So it's very easy to store. In its liquid state, LNG will not ignite. So when LNG reaches its destination, it is turned back into a gas in the regasification plants, and it is piped to homes, businesses, industries, where it is burned to for heat and to generate electricity. So it's very cost competitive, cleaner fuel. So know more about LNG for GS paper 3, environment and clean energy. Next is regarding there is a news happening, 7 children, women dead in Malaysia landslip. So this brings us GS paper 1 geophysical phenomena and GS paper 3 disaster management. Know what is a landslip, know how a landslide occurs, what is the theory behind this, we need to know it. And there is also flooding kills more than 160 people in the Congo capital. So you should know one side we have the landslip and the other side we have flooding happening. So why do we, what are the causes of flood, how does flood really happen, what are the causes, how can flood happen? Know all this from GS paper 1 geophysical phenomena and also GS paper 3 disaster management, and how reconstruction and recovery is happening. NASA to set up, this is again NASA to conduct the first global water survey from space, GS paper 3, because a NASA led international satellite was launched from the Southern California to do a comprehensive survey of the world's ocean, lakes, and rivers for the first time. Because in 20 years, there is something called as SWOT. SWOT means surface water and ocean topography. SWOT, surface water and ocean topography. The advanced, you can see that the it's called the SWOT. The advanced radar satellite is designed to give an unprecedented view of the life-giving fluid covering 70% of the planet, and the new consequence of climate change can be done. A Falcon 9 rocket owned and operated by Elon Musk space company SpaceX was set to lift off the SWOT into the orbit. Because nearly 20 years in development, SWOT incorporates advanced microwave radar technology that scientists say will collect height surface measurement of ocean, lakes, reservoirs, and rivers in high definition detail, over 90% of the goal. And it is really the first mission to observe nearly all water on the planet's surface. So the SWOT's ability is something very big, and it is also has the ability to find out smaller surface feature that impacting the rising ocean levels on coastlines, know about water, lakes, reservoirs. So completely it's going to be a good thing. So know about SWOT, the surface water and ocean topography, GS paper 3 space. So nearly 20 years in development, it actually incorporates the microwave radar technology, will collect surface movements of oceans, lakes, reservoirs, etc. So these are some of the most important current affairs of the day that we have discussed, and keep reading and keep learning. Subscribe to LearnStroke IAS classes by Arjun, and prepare your current affairs